What's up? What's up? What's going on, everybody? It's Kenneth and Bianca with the Core of You. This is another Friday Core of You conversation. We just wanted to get in real quick. We're feeling much better than we did last week. We was a little tired, got over a little sickness, but we're doing much better. Thank you for your positive energy and your prayers and all the wonderful thoughts that we got from different people. We just want to talk to you today at the Core of You, Community of Restoration and Enlightenment. You can always follow us on Facebook and IG, on YouTube, and our website, TheCoreofU, CORE of the letter U.com. We wanted to talk to you. I was talking to Wifey, and we were talking about success versus, I guess we want to say, success versus obedience. And the conversation we were having, it was a pretty good conversation because we always will pray and ask God or universe or the heavens, or whatever you pray to, however you go for that higher power. We will reach out and ask God and say, I want to be successful. I want to be successful. I want to be successful at this. I want to be successful at life. I want to be successful as a parent, as a child, in my work, with money, in my gifts and my talents, whatever it is, right? I want to be successful. So we ask God that. God says to us, I want you to be obedient. I want you to be obedient. So it's this back and forth all the time, right? I want to be successful. And God is saying, okay, I want you to be obedient. And the conversation that we were having is, it's crazy that sometimes in our attempts to be successful, our obedience ends up being, our success comes at the expense of us being obedient. So instead of being obedient, we become disobedient. And in our attempts to be successful, we take a disobedient path. And what ends up happening is we only have glimpse of success. And as I was talking to Wifey about that, what'd you say? You asked me a great question.
What's the question I asked you?
About success versus obedience. You asked me a question.
I know, I don't remember what I asked.
You don't remember what you asked? You said, well, why does one have to be...
Oh, yeah, why does it have to be one or the other? That's what I said, And I think when we think about, first, when you say the word obedience, it sounds so draconian, like, stiff and everything. But it's the subtle ways that we ignore that inner voice that could also lead us away from the path of success that is more easy and less, like they say, choose the path of least resistance. What that looks like spiritually is obedience, because it's those quiet nudgings in yourself where okay, Spirit is telling me to do this. Spirit is telling me to go here. And when you don't obey those things, you pull yourself further away from the path of least resistance. And so to your point, when you say success versus obedience, first, what do you define as success? It's probably going to look like joy, ease, things like that. Happy Core of You Friday, Cousin Tasha.
So I guess that's the point. That's the question. That's something you have to ask yourself. We can't answer it for you. We can only answer it for ourselves. We want to be successful. We try and we do things, and we believe we have those moments of success in our lives. Case in point, when it was time for us, when we were ready to have children, we kind of had to put those personal success attempts or dreams on hold a little bit, because when it was time for us to have children, we also wanted to be successful as parents. And not that we couldn't do both, right? Yeah, so it's like, where do you want to be successful? So as successful parents, we had to put like some of our personal dreams on hold. Not that we had to give them up, not that we stopped. We just kind of had to pause on those a little bit, especially for us, because we really it was important for us to really pour into our children, and still is today. In their youth and when they're young, and really help and hope and pray to God to get them a good foundation, to validate them when they were young. So some of the things that we might have desired, as individuals, and even in our relationships, some of those things. And now as our children are getting older, now we're starting to pick some of those things back up. Case in point, TheCoreofU Friday, core. We want to do some writing. We want to do things like that, that will allow us to get back into our dreams. But in order for us to really be good as parents and to validate our children, we really had to be obedient to God. We really did. And he was like, well, listen, this is going to be some sacrifice. If you really want to pour into them and really, really get to your children.
Touched on that sacrifice. I think the sacrifice is what leads people away from obedience.
There it is.
Because your spirit will tell you this is what it's going to require to get the result you need.
There it is.
The quickest, and you go away from it. Hey, Sister T. Denise, she's one of my mommy mentors, talking about parenting successfully.
Right.
Case in point, when you have that certain gym goal, or you have that certain body type you want to look like. Now, in your mind, it's going to take certain sacrifice, obedience to a certain way of living, and a certain regimen, a certain level of discipline. And if you want to be successful in that area, are you going to be obedient when that little voice says, don't eat that this late?
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you just do a smaller portion, or drink some water before you eat that meal? Like, it's those little things that we don't listen to, small little nudgings, things that that are self-imposed that we don't even want to do.
No doubt.
Hey, Carrie.
So you have to ask yourself in life, if I'm not being successful, am I being obedient? And they both can exist at the same time. I guess that's what we're really trying to tell you. You can be obedient to God and to the universe and to your calling. And for a lot of us, and I had to go through it in life, it's kind of where we miss out on some of our success, is because we're really not being obedient. If you're in a job or you're somewhere doing something that you're starting to get tired, you're starting to get frustrated with, you really don't like it, you really don't love. This is why we created the core, and it's so powerful that we kind of both were inspired to do it, and we came with it at the same time, because this is our calling, what we wanted to do, talking to couples, talking to individuals, talking to youth, talking to married people, and dating, whatever it is, whoever it is, coaching and getting to that is something, because we were already doing it all the time anyway. We just kind of put a name in it and a title of it, and now it's kind of our ministry, and this is how we're doing that. But we had to be obedient to that calling. And within that obedience, we have found some success, and we have found, and we pray and hope that as we continue to be more obedient, that we'll find more success. And that's what all we're saying. So for a lot of us in our lives, what are you doing? Are you being successful? That's good. That's great. But are you being obedient at the same time? And I think it's much more better. It's much more fulfilling if you can do both. If you can find yourself being obedient, it will lead to your success, and it'll be great, and it'll be so beautiful.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
No, absolutely. I think one, we have to also not get discouraged at what success does or does not look like. Let's start there.
So what does success look like? You need to define that. Yes.
For me, it was like, for us to be able to be this consistent on this social media platform for almost a year now, when I don't even really do social media, for me, that was a goal. And you listening to the obedience, being obedient to the nudgings of people that were pushing us into our calling, like the cousin Tasha's, the sisters, Danny, our aunties and uncles, we could have ignored that. And even if it's one person or it's five, the success is being committed to us and our goal, and not saying, well, however many people join us or believe in the vision, it can't, if you get tied to it looking another way, you could get discouraged.
No doubt.
So for me, that was first the definition of what I felt with that specific goal. With working out recently, success looked like just committing to the 20 to 40 minutes a day of either walking or some physical activity, because I couldn't get to the gym. So that for me was success, and just doing it consistently and being obedient. You got time to do this. Get up. And a lot of times it's really just being committed to yourself, because God and the Spirit is already in you telling you what to do. So are you going to be obedient enough to listen to yourself, really, to that higher calling of yourself, that higher part of yourself that's calling you forth?
No doubt, no doubt. And look at that. So Cousin Tasha says, yes, success looks different for every person, and making sure you define success. And you have to be the one to define what success is to you. Don't allow life. And in your calling, it will tell you if you really begin to walk in it, if you are obedient, if you're truly obedient in it, it will begin to dictate and to determine what success is for you, and you'll feel good, and you'll go to bed feeling fulfilled. You won't have that empty feeling, and you'll feel good about who you are and what you bring to society and to those around you and to your community and to things like that. So that's the discussion for today. It's a challenge to you. Go home and think about it. Or if you're already at home, think about it with yourself. Are you being obedient? Because we always ask God, I want to be successful. But God turns around and says, I want you to be obedient. Ooh. So if you're going to be successful, make sure that it's not at the expense of your obedience. Make sure that you're not being disobedient, because it will really hinder your success, and it may cause you to fail in more ways than one.
And just ask. If you don't know, just ask the universe. Ask, how do I need to be obedient to reach this goal? Sometimes we don't get the answer because we don't even ask. We say, show me how to be successful. Show me, I want this, but like there's some steps. If we just ask in between, it can give us peace.
And
thank you for this nugget.
And I think that's all that God is really saying to us all. You just keep saying, I want to be successful. And he's saying, I just want you to be obedient. I want to be successful. I think Trey Songz had that, right? I just want to be successful, right? I just want to be successful. God is saying, I just want you to be obedient. I just want you to be obedient. And I think and I believe that if you are obedient, it will lead to the greatest success. You probably won't even imagine the kind of success you can have if you're just obedient.
Right? Self-fulfillment.
Absolutely. So we hope you enjoyed this for today. It was quick. We got in, got out. Another CoreofU, CORE of the letter U. Follow us on IG. Join us on YouTube. Our website, once again, is CoreofU, Community of Restoration and Enlightenment. CORE of the letter U. We hope that you have a good weekend. We hope that you're blessed. We hope that you have peace in your heart. And we wish you much success. And more importantly, we wish you much obedience. Peace.